Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. November 8 to 5, and 8 5, 7 November, say again. Roger, 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my can use November, go. 1 Charlie, and 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. Now 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, reference to your last, you're Brandon 158, extra 5 South Carolina, 1200 between teams, and local. Also request your unit take inbound message to see if we can try to get Whiskey 9 and 8 for pause at the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf. My unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip. I forgot to take a dip.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, go. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf. Roger, request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. November 8 to 5, and 8 5, 7 November, say again. Roger, 7 November, go.
Hey guys, looks like we're live. If you can hear me, let me know in the chat, please. Also, if you hear a baby doing baby talk, that would be my daughter. That's right down here. But let me know if you can hear me, and we can get this going. Audio's good. Awesome. Okay. Sean McGuire, out the start. If any of you watching right now want your deployment photos or any photos from the military to be featured in the stream countdown, let me know. Send me an email. I'll throw them in the slideshow. But let's start with baby girl. Relax. Chill. Okay. Let's start with Sean McGuire's question. Okay. Have you heard of the VA accepting a fully developed to VA standards DBQ for my personal physician and then not requiring a CMP exam and just issue a rating? So if you submit a fully developed claim, Sean, or send McGuire, if you submit a fully developed claim and the VA decides they need more information, it's very common to see a CMP exam, even though you've submitted a fully developed claim. Have I heard of the VA or seen the VA not require CMP exams? Absolutely. Okay. If you've been a fan of the show for any amount of time, you'd know that I always preach about Dr. Sharma, multiple of his letters and DBQs, and then the veteran submitting the other evidence for a fully developed claim. Multiple veterans haven't had a CMP exam, and it really comes down to your evidence and then the actual CMP exam itself. Dude, why are we yelling right now? Why are we yelling? Okay, I'll I'll bring her on stream. Maybe she'll be quiet. Okay. But yeah, it's definitely not unheard of to have a CMP exam, even though you submitted an independent medical opinion and a DBQ. But it just depends if the VA needs more information or not. Okay. All right. Audio's good. Yep. Thank you. Just a good Brown, best intro on YouTube. All right. Yes. Thank you. Yeah. I've decided to use fans of the show, their deployment photos, a few of my friends' photos. And so if you want your photo included in that, send it over in my email. I'll add it in. No context needed. Just whatever you want to be, whatever you want shown. All right. Moving down to Kevin Trotter. He says, filed a claim for TDIU in January, had my CMP exam on the 16th of March. The doctor did not ask me any questions about my condition or my job status. Is this normal? So, Kevin, it depends what you submitted as evidence. And if they didn't ask you questions about your condition or your job status, what questions did they ask you? That's definitely what I want to know. But give me a follow-on comment to that, and then I can probably give you better insight into answering your question. All right. Yep. Loud and clear. Awesome. Donald says, I have about 4 ICD codes in my med records. Can I file on them? Absolutely. And so, Donald, all those med records you're talking about from like a private practice, is it from your service treatment records? And the reason why I bring that up is because I just had a meeting with someone who was in his 60s-ish. He had medical evidence from service of a few things, but was recently diagnosed in his late 50s for various conditions. Now, just because you've been diagnosed with stuff and you have an ICD code of the diagnosis, that doesn't necessarily mean it's service connected, okay? So you need 3 things for every claim. For every single VA disability claim, you need 3 things. You need an in-service event, which is like medical evidence from service or documentations of like something happening, like a car accident, a deployment, etc. The current diagnosis, which you have 4 of them. Okay, so you have the second one. And then the Nexus. The Nexus is at least as likely or more than likely. Those would be the positive Nexus statements. So you're going to need all 3 of those for your claim. And so we have the second one. I'm questioning the first and the third one. So put a follow-on comment if you have medical evidence from service. And if not, okay, I'm not saying it's the end of the road. I'm not saying you should get an independent medical opinion, but we should at least consider that depending on what your evidence actually is. All right. Ronald Beard says, have you heard of sleep apnea secondary to tinnitus? Yes, I've heard. So that one's a weird one. I've actually seen it. I've seen sleep apnea connected to tinnitus at a 50% rating, so the veteran required a CPAP. It's definitely not common. And the reason why I say it's weird is because it's kind of like the insomnia argument, right? Your tinnitus is probably keeping you up at night to where you're not sleeping. And sleep apnea is you're not breathing when you are sleeping. And so it is kind of weird. I've seen it, though. It's not common. It's definitely not an easy win. But yes, I've seen it, to answer your question. Next Level Cash, long time fan of the show. Hey, Next Level, thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, everyone. Feel free to ask me any question at all. Primarily VA, that's what I'm here for, okay? And without questions, there is no live. All right, Secret Sauce with a $10 donation. Secret Sauce, thank you so much. All donations go back to the YouTube channel. So here's my weekly contribution. Thanks to you and Dr. Sharma. Secret Sauce, thank you. Okay, hold on. I have something that I want to try out. And so this was, oh, my dang, okay. This was, nope. All right. My keyboard battery must be dying. Thank you for your support. Hold on. I'm holding a baby, and so this might take me a little bit, but I want to do this this thing I got going on. She keeps kicking the dang keyboard. Thank you for your support. Right. This is secret sauce. $9.99. Hold on, guys. This is going to be awesome once it pops up. Look at that. Oh, I'm a genius. Okay. That took me way too long. We have 2 other donations, guys. I'm going to get to everyone else's questions, but I definitely want to hit on these. Vanessa with the $50 super sticker. One, Vanessa, that's insane. Thank you so much. I appreciate that more than you guys know. Every time I get a donation, I have no idea what to say. It kind of feels weird, but thank you so much. I'm glad that this channel is able to actually help veterans. And that's definitely the whole goal behind this. Okay. Woo, tell me about it. All right. Let's change this to Vanessa. All right, there we go. Man, I'm killing this. Okay. Vanessa, secret sauce, thank you so much. And we have another one, guys, Bamboo Pandolfi. I'm sure I butchered that. He says, keep up the great work. Thanks for all you do. Thank you. Okay. Thank you guys for, I'm not joking when I say this. Thank you for the donations. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart. I'm going to try to do this stream with this baby. Hopefully my wife comes home soon so she can take her off my hands. But absolutely, thank you so much. All right, let's get down to answering more questions. Question, if I get 100% rating, will they try to screw me? Okay, so first, the VA isn't going to willy-nilly give out 100%. Okay, it's difficult to get 100% for a reason. Second, the VA is not going to take that rating away. And the only time I've seen the VA take ratings away specifically is when the VA made a clear and unmistakable error, meaning they messed up, and then you'll see them rescind that 100%. Or in cases of fraud. And so those are the 2 most common. Fraud's very rare, but those are the 2 most common. If you get 100%, they're not going to take it away, especially if it's P&T. If it's not P&T, you will have future exams, and then depending on the severity of your symptoms, a rating could be lowered, but this is why we go to healthcare. This is why we upkeep our medical evidence, and this is why we keep on complaining when things hurt, right? That builds the medical evidence trail for that. Let me add, oh, you know what? I can copy and paste. That's probably way easier. Oh, yes. Yes, it is. All right. There we go. Trying to make it with StreamYard. Also, guys and gals, for those of you who have been on the show before, tuned in, this is a new streaming platform. Oh, so Antoine Smith says you're at 90. Yeah. So you can get that other 10%. Absolutely. I wouldn't worry about the VA screwing you. I would just file a proper claim and get properly rated. The whole, if you YouTube, will the VA take away my 100%? I'm telling you, you're going to find videos out there that's basically fear-mongering that and saying the VA sucks and screw the VA and all this stuff, which I get it. But I'm telling you, if you had 100% P&T, they're not going to touch it. You're fine. And here, I will let everyone see her face because she wants to make noise. So let's just put her on the camera. Okay. You good? All right. She's good. But yes. Okay. Going down to Jessica Brown. Aid and attendance claim appointment in the morning. Let me get Vanessa's back up there. That was insane. Vanessa, thank you so much for that. Woo. Okay. Aid and attendance claim appointment in the morning. Kind of nervous. Haven't filed a claim after being 100% for over 23 years, but it's now or never. Need all the help I can get. Jessica Brown, 1, congrats on 23 years at 100%. Okay, that rating is protected. Aid and attendance is, so I always tell veterans it's pretty clear cut. In most cases of aid and attendance, you either really need it or you don't. Okay. But just off of this one comment, you've been 100% for 23 years. Your symptoms have probably gotten worse over time. And that alone makes me feel confident for you, Jessica Brown. I wish you all the best. Let me know next week or on the next live what the answer for your aid and attendance actually was. All right. Or how the exam went. Okay. Howard Hamilton, can you file claims secondary to multiple service-connected disabilities? Is migraine secondary to tinnitus, sleep apnea, and GAD with insomnia? Howard, I think you left a comment on one of my YouTube videos, and I told you to come to the live stream and ask the same one. If that's not you, then someone asked a very similar question earlier, and I'm going to give. So the short answer I gave was it depends on your evidence. What does your evidence suggest? Okay. Real quick, Paul King, thank you so much for the super sticker. I appreciate that, guys. All donations go back to the channel. Okay. I just bought StreamYard. It was $240. And so, yeah, it's definitely the money is being well spent. Okay. Trying to make it as easy as possible for veterans to get the information. All right. The quick answer I gave, Howard, was what does your evidence suggest? And here's the long answer, okay? If you're telling the VA that, hey, my migraines might be tinnitus, my migraines might be caused by anxiety, my migraines might be being caused by sleep apnea, you're kind of stating there's no causation. You're just correlating a bunch of things, which in some cases can be good. You'll see that a lot in sleep apnea. But outside of sleep apnea, what I would really suggest is looking at your evidence and seeing what works best, okay? And an example of that is saying, hey, hey, VA, you talk, so I'm sorry, I'm trying to multitask. It's not a good idea whatsoever. An example of building medical evidence for a secondary claim is say, hey, anytime my tinnitus goes off, I get a migraine. And if that doctor makes a note of that, okay, which they should, that's what I mean by what does your evidence suggest, okay? You can't randomly claim secondary conditions. They still have to be based in evidence, absolutely. All right, real quick, Brock Loy, $10 super sticker. Thank you so much, brother. And we have George USMC. Hey, yut to you, George. Simplify, thanks for what you do. Thank you for what you guys do. Without questions, there is no live. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Like I said a billion times before, all this stuff goes back to the channel 100%. Let me change this to a 4. What a bad time for my keyboard to die, right? Okay. But Howard, let me know if I answered your question. I hope I did. All right. K. Haynes, 253. Do you think it's lossy to live abroad and still receive treatment from the VA while you're in a different country? Absolutely not. I don't know what lossy is. But seek treatment. If you need treatment, seek the treatment. You'll see tons of veterans in the Philippines, tons of veterans in Japan, and tons of veterans in Germany. Okay. It's very normal. There's VA medical centers in those countries. It's perfectly okay for you to go to the VA, and it's perfectly okay for you to go to a private practice in a foreign country. There's nothing wrong with that at all. All right. Mark Prevail. I was service connected for neuropathy for both upper and lower extremities. But it was low ball at 10%. You think I should do an HLR or supplemental? So Mac, I'm sorry, I said Mark. Mac, when it comes to your question, okay, a higher level review would review the same evidence, and then a senior rater could make a second decision. It's basically like a second opinion on your service connection. So if you believe your evidence proves a higher rating, it would be the HLR. If you don't believe your evidence proves that, and maybe you want to get a second opinion from a private practice, you could submit those records as a supplemental claim. So a supplemental claim just means you're submitting new evidence, right? So if you have new evidence to combat that decision, that's a supplemental. If you don't have new evidence, but you believe your current evidence rates a higher rating, that would be a higher level review. All right. I will tell you this, guys. I'm absolutely, I'm an idiot. I can share the donation stickers on the screen here. That's much easier than doing the banner. Okay. Secret Sauce, again, thank you very much. Thank you to Dr. Sharma. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Dr. Sharma is a board-certified psychiatrist, instructor at Johns Hopkins University, solid psychiatrist, prior U.S. Air Force veteran, and we have another stream coming up soon. Once we nail down a date, I'll let everyone know. Trust me. So he's coming back on the stream for another round. So once I have that date, mark your calendars. That's not one you're going to miss. I promise you. All right, Brandon Downs. I filed a BDD back in September. Terminal leave ends in April. Any estimate when I should get past the gathering evidence portion, all appointments complete? So if all of your appointments are complete, that's good news. I've heard of veterans doing the BDD claim and they get their decision the next day after leaving service. That would be picture perfect. Depending on how long you've been in, what you claimed, how what your medical evidence stack is. If it's a lot, that could take more time. But I haven't heard of a BDD claim go longer than 3 months. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I'm just saying I haven't heard of one yet. Okay. So to answer your question, I would say 1 day to 3 months. But regardless, your back date will be the day you get out of service. So your effective date will be April 24th or April 25th. Yo, relax. April 25th, and then your first VA back pay check will be, what is that? January, February, March, April will be May. Yes, I just had to use my fingers for that. Okay. All these ICD codes from an injury in service. Yep, Donald. So to go back to your previous comment, if you have so now we have two things, right? You have the in-service event. You have the diagnosis. Okay, I'm assuming it's current. When I say current, I mean within 1 year. You think she wants another bottle, guys? And then so now you would just need the nexus. And so I would say you have enough evidence to submit the claim, and you could rely on the CMP examiner to write that nexus, or you can get a independent medical opinion in a DBQ. Personally, that's not what I would do because you have the in-service event. And call that a day. I don't think she wants it. Yes, she does. I don't know. Kids make a liar out of you. Okay. Vanessa, look at that. Crazy super sticker. Thank you so much. I appreciate it from the bottom of my heart. I really do. All right. Bamboo, again, keep up the great work. Thank you. All right. Nico, FBA. Just had my HLR informal conference yesterday. Okay, that's good news. She said I'll have my claims done in 5 to 10 days. That's great. Okay. Let me know the outcome of that. It sounds like it's going to be favorable. Okay. Just from that one comment, I have no idea on the evidence. What's up, dude? But definitely let me know. Longhorn says congrats. Hey, thank you. Congrats. I assume you're talking about the baby, but thank you very much. Okay, follow-up comment from Kevin. Follow-up answer about my TDIU. The doctor didn't ask me any questions about my bilateral eye disease. I'm rated at 90. It was odd to me that I wasn't asked any questions. Is this normal? Well, what did happen during the exam? Like, I assume you didn't just walk in there and look at each other. What questions did they ask? I understand that they didn't ask about your disabilities because maybe they already had all the answers for the disabilities themselves. Okay. And it depends on what the VA is really paying them for. So a CMP examiner, to keep it very basic, if I tell someone to do one thing, that I don't expect that person to do 10 things. So it depends on what the VA requested the CMP examiner to do, and then what the VA requested them to do would be dependent on your evidence. And so I would assume you have all the evidence to submit there, and whatever the VA needed information on, that's the question the CMP examiner asked you. I just don't know what that question was. All right, Vanessa, thank you for asking questions. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Seriously. All right, Ronald 8, thank you. Yep. Ask the questions, guys and girls. Ask the questions. Also, if you're just now tuning in and you didn't see the intro, go back, look at the intro. You're going to see deployment photos of fans of the show and a few of my friends. If you want your photo in that countdown, definitely email it to me. Let me know, and we will. I'll add it in there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Whoa. Okay. All right. Miss KNUCB1. Okay. I'm service connected for lumbar strain and radiculopathy. Okay. VA did x-rays on my back, hips, knees, and found arthritis in all three. How do I claim secondary to my back issues? So the x-ray shows you have a diagnosis, right? Arthritis in your hips, knees, and back. Your back's already rated. And so if that makes your back has a decreased range of motion, so I'm just going to assume you're at 10%. Okay. If your range of motion has decreased and you meet the 20% rating, if you guys can hear her, she's tooting right now. It's kind of gross. But if your back has a decreased range of motion, you could do an increase for 20% that way for your back. So that one's already covered. For your hips and your knees, you would have to prove that your back caused that. So an x-ray is a good start to that. But now you're going to need, talk to your physician, whoever took the x-ray, whether it's a VA or private practice. Ask them if your back could have caused your hips and knees. And that's kind of how you build that evidence. There is another option, which you could get an independent medical opinion and a DBQ for your hips and your knees, saying that it's secondary to your back condition. If you're going to do that, I highly recommend getting a physician in person. Okay. Be very cautious about going shopping for a Nexus letter if like a physician assistant or someone like that is going to do a DBQ virtual. All right. Antoine Smith, Light Bro 2002. Okay. I have no idea what you're talking about, but thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. All right, cool B. Oh, it says glad to see you still on. Okay. Yeah. All right. Secret sauce. How can we do one-on-ones with you? I'm currently at 70, but have several other things in my records to file for, but I'm too nervous. Okay. My MH rating with Dr. Sharma was an easy win. Look at that. Everyone watching right now, Secret Sauce says that her rating for mental health with the Dr. Sharma was an easy win. And I'm pretty sure, Secret Sauce, you're one of the veterans that didn't have to attend a CMP exam, which means that was a legit, fully developed claim, and the VA just took it as is. That's a clear indicator that that mental health rating was an easy win. I'm pretty sure that was you, if I remember. How can you do one-on-ones with me? So up in the top up here, you'll see one-on-one meetings, and you'll see my email up here. You can email me, and in my signature line, once I reply, you'll see a calendar invite link. I periodically add times to my calendar. If those times don't work for you, just send me another email and say, hey, I'm available these times, and I promise you I will work my schedule around you. I'll do whatever I have to. I'll take a break from work. I also work full-time. I have 3 kids. I got a lot going on, but I will definitely schedule around you, especially for you, Secret Sauce, for sure, without a doubt. And so if you want a one-on-one meeting, let me know. Send me an email. We'll get to it. But I get tons of emails. And so Secret Sauce for you, put in the subject line Secret Sauce so I know that it is you. Okay. All right. Antoine Smith. Awesome. Thank you. Ronald Beard. When I file online, can I submit a supplemental claim and the same claim upload with the new claim? No, you cannot. Okay. you can fill out a 0995. Don't scold me if that's the wrong number. Google supplemental claim. Okay, there's going to be this form that pops up. You can fill it out, send that in by mail, and then you can submit initial claims or increases with that. Okay, but no, you can't do a supplemental claim online. I'm sure that's going to change hopefully soon. It absolutely blows my mind that to do a supplemental, it's just not really user friendly. All right. Sin McGuire, sorry. If I listed migraines on my separation exam, Gulf War 1, I assume that's what GW1 is. Should I file as direct or secondary to service-connected hypertension or service-connected rhinitis on meds? So it depends what your evidence suggests. Okay, you have it on your exit exam. That's good. I'm going to assume that means Gulf War 1, which now makes me question how current is your diagnosis. I see it on sumatriptan. That's a very common medicine used for migraines that the VA issues out to veterans. Let me know how long you've been on that. And you can claim direct because it is in your exit exam. That's very mild evidence, if you will. But if your evidence suggests migraines came from hypertension or migraines is caused by your rhinitis and all the stuff up here, then I would suggest that one. Okay, it depends what your evidence says, and that's really the route I would take. All right, Paul King says, is there any difference between a CMP exam done by the VA versus one done by a contracted group? Paul King, this is a great question, and to be honest with you, there's no answer to it. It doesn't really depend. So the outcome of the CMP, or not the outcome, what's supposed to be done during the CMP exam, it doesn't matter who does it, whether that's from the VA or from a contracted company, because if it was from the VA, the VA sends the requirement to the company and the company fills that requirement. It's the same thing a VA doctor would do. It's the exact same. The real question there is the qualifications and the personality between the different doctors. And that's not specific to the VA or to CMP examiners, but that's really the variable that I see with various doctors. All right. Yeah, finally someone cute on your camera. Yeah, sorry, guys. Sorry, I'll have to bring her on the stream more often. All right. Paul King, thank you for the donation. If I would have saw your chat before that, I would definitely answer that earlier. All right. Tia Moore says, which high-value claims are likely static? Whew. This is a huge question here. So I would say it's pretty common to see this is not fact-based, okay? Let me start off by saying that. Definitely not fact-based at all. But when it comes to static high-value claims, you'll see things like sleep apnea. That's 50%. I would argue a 50% mental health rating is generally static. The 100% mental health ratings, I would say, are generally not static because the mental health, the serious mental illness, the SMI, through healthcare would hopefully get better. And so it's pretty common not to see a static rating on 100% mental health. But at 70%, you'll see it. And at 50%, I would argue it's more static. Again, not fact-based whatsoever. These are just what I've seen from hundreds of veterans' C-files, okay? Any sort of like physician or physical ailment like lumbar strain, cervical strain, shoulder strain, wrist strains, those would be static. I don't know if those are high value. Well, depending on like how severe your lower back is, that could be high value, okay? But to define high value, I would say 50% or more. Flat feet, okay? Flat feet's a high value static claim. Migraines at 50%, I would say is generally not static, okay? How often do you hear veterans saying my migraines went from 50% to 0%? That's probably one of the most common reductions I see is from migraines at 50 or at 30. is being dropped to 0. Not even 10, just straight to 0. But off the top of my head, Tia, that's my answer. And again, definitely not fact-based, because when it comes to static conditions, everyone's different, okay? Are there 100% static mental health ratings? Absolutely. I'm just saying, generally speaking, that's not what I see. All right. Miss K, is intervertebral disc syndrome, so IDS or IVDS, the same thing as DDD and arthritis? I don't want the pyramid. So that's probably going to be pyramided. You'll see a lot of lower back conditions pyramided. Now you can get a rating for thoracolumbar spine, which is kind of like your mid back and down, and then your cervical, which is like your neck area in your spine. Those can receive 2 different ratings. And so if your IVDS and DDD are kind of along the spine, you can get 2 ratings for that. If it messes with the range of motion of your neck and the range of motion of your back, that's 2 ratings, or your hips, that would be 2 ratings, okay? Potentially 3, really. There's also some radiculopathies. There's some avenues for nerve damage, not just in your legs, but from your shoulders out to your hands, okay? So you could have carpal tunnel. That could cause the cubital nerve, which is these two fingers. Lots of secondaries that can be x-rayed and looked at. But you don't want the pyramid. The VA is going to do what the VA is going to do. It depends on the rating code and then the symptoms of these disabilities. So the VA actually rates symptoms instead of diagnoses, okay? It kind of sounds weird, but the best way to put it is look at mental health. For PTSD, if you have PTSD, you probably have severe depression and severe anxiety, probably. And so those are symptoms of PTSD. And so you're not going to get 3 different ratings for that. And so you can kind of take that same concept and apply that to your lower back. Look at your symptoms. Look at your symptoms of IBDS. Look at your symptoms of DDD. And you can kind of go from there. All right, Tony P. Can I get a secondary service-connected condition like depression from alcohol abuse if I was diagnosed in service and again 20 years later? Can I get a service-connected condition so you're asking if you can get depression from alcohol abuse? Oh, absolutely. Tony P, this actually sounds like an easy win, okay? So just off this comment, I'm going to show, when someone asks me questions, like claim questions, this is what happens in my mind, and I want you to see it so that way I can teach you how to fish, okay? 1, I'm thinking in-service event. Hey, I'm looking at evidence from the military. Do you have it? Yes or no? I'm looking at the current diagnosis. That's the second thing every claim needs. Then I'm looking at the nexus, okay? And the in-service event really plays into the nexus, all right? And in your case, because it is 20 years later, there's a 4th one that's chronic and continuous. So not just a current diagnosis, but has that been chronic and continuous? All right, so knowing those things, when I read this comment, I'm like, can I get secondary service condition like depression from alcohol abuse? Absolutely. Okay. So alcohol abuse, things like obesity, obesity won't be rated specifically, but they will tie it to, for instance, like PTSD, things like that. So can you do it? Absolutely. What I see here is you have a diagnosis from service. You have another diagnosis from 20 years later. I assume that's current within 1 year. The only question I have is what happened between that, okay? Are there events that can be verified through a lay statement? Did you go see a provider? Anything. But I think that's generally speaking, an easy win. I would totally go for it, Tony P. All right. Hey, I'm just going through the chats now. Brock Lloyd, thank you so much again. I appreciate it. All right. Go Cats, by the way. Okay. Matt Horn, in your live stream now, what are your thoughts on what I sent you about not having hearing tests for tinnitus and just talking about it? Also, not having a CMP exam for sleep apnea to my PTSD. Okay, Matt Horn, 1, I get tons. If you guys saw my email, you would understand how I can't remember these things, but I do see your comment on YouTube. Let me read your comment. I don't want to leave you high and dry, okay? Give me a second here. And so looking at his comments, he says, tried filing 2 secondary claims back on 10/22, so October of last year, for sleep apnea and tinnitus. Both doctors gave me Nexus letters. Okay. Had a CMP exam for tinnitus. All she did was ask questions, no test, no nothing. All right. You were 19. Yep. Okay. Got it. So ringing in the ears. Second was for sleep apnea for PTSD. Sleep apnea is secondary to PTSD. I assume that's what you mean. Haven't had a CMP exam for that yet. And you got to, you've been denied. All right. Had my local VSO or whatever they called, help me file. Any advice? So you have OIF. Okay. All right. Perfect. So when it comes to sleep apnea, so you're service connected for PTSD, I'm assuming, and you have OIF deployments. And so knowing that, and you said you submitted a Nexus letter, I have tons of questions on that. So most likely the Nexus letter you purchased sucked. Just to keep it real with you, it probably sucked. If you don't think it sucked, let me know who wrote it. Let me know where it came from. When I say who, not the name, but was it a nurse practitioner, physician assistant, stuff like that, okay? Let me know what your rating for mental health is. But if I had to guess, your Nexus letter was probably weak. But you can absolutely pursue that. Same thing with tinnitus. What I would suggest is email me, because I don't want to push you for another Nexus letter, okay? I never want to become a Nexus letter mill, so to speak. So send me an email. I got tons of questions I want you to answer. It'll be faster through email versus here. But the Nexus letter was probably weak. You might need another one, okay? I hate to say that to you. You might need another one, but it depends, okay? Were you diagnosed with sleep apnea? Do you require a CPAP machine? Who diagnosed you? When did they diagnose you? How severe is your PTSD? Like, there's tons of questions. I definitely want you to send me an email up here, TheCivDiv@gmail.com, and I will reply. Make sure you put your name in the subject line so I know who you are. Matt Horn. I'll definitely remember this. All right, George. Thank you, Georgie. Appreciate it. Yet to you. All right, it's PTSD, but they call it something else. Okay, probably like Mick. Just definitely email me. All right, Mac Attack. All right, how long should you wait to file for an increase? Matt, not long at all. Okay, if you know, we have a donation, I missed it. All right, Tony P, the $10 super chat. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All donations go back to the channel. Every time someone donates, I really have no idea what to say because I never thought that this was possible whatsoever. But here we are doing it as best we can. Brother, I appreciate it, Tony. I hope I answered your question. If I didn't, feel free to definitely email me for sure. Okay. So how long should you wait to file an increase? You shouldn't wait. Once you believe you rate higher, file for the increase, okay? When you file for that increase, feel free to make an appointment. So in a perfect world, all right, you could do an intent to file, make an appointment with your provider, talk about that disability specifically, talk about your symptoms, and then submit the claim. That would be perfect. But regardless, you're going to have a CMP exam for that increase, and you're going to have to do it all over again. So the answer to that is I wouldn't wait at all. Why wait? All right. VA is now allowing vet to use tinnitus. Nice. Yep, Antoine, you can claim tinnitus. We know it's at 10%. I believe the rating code is 6260. Look that up in the 38 CFR. All right, Fred Christie. Hey, thank you for being on the show. I appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. On the decision letter, when they show what documents they use, I have not seen VHA records used. Do they not show in-house records used? So they definitely, decision letters are kind of weird. They will annotate specific evidence, especially for denials, right? So let's say a very common one I see a lot is, hey, from your service treatment records, you said that you didn't have PTSD. Specifically, it's right here in evidence. That's where they will really state, hey, this is what I reviewed to make this decision. Not every decision letter is going to do that. It's only for the hard definitive denials. But when you submitted that claim, there's an option for the VA to look at your VA medical records, to look at private records. You kind of fill in that information as you go, and then to look at lay statements. And then there's also another way to submit evidence, which is quick submit. And so the VA would look at all of that. All right. Hopefully that answers your question, Fred. I think generally speaking, they would have looked at your records. All right. Roddy Jones just got approved for 70% for anxiety and depression, seconded to tinnitus. There we go. No appeal, no lawyer needed. Absolutely, Roddy. Let me know if you used one. Congrats. That's a huge one. That's a big ticket item. Okay. Let me know if you submitted an independent medical opinion with that. If you submitted a DBQ. She's asleep now, guys, and I don't want to move her. Okay. So we're just going to keep her here. But yeah, let me know if you submitted anything with that. I definitely want to know. All right. Brock Loy, good deal on Dr. Sharma. Hopefully I'll hear something back from him sometime in April. I think he's a busy man. Absolutely, Brock. So Dr. Sharma and I both didn't understand the impact that he was going to have. So it's definitely been fruitful for him. Okay. And tons of veterans are getting not just the Nexus letter from him. Okay. That's what they want. But now, since that stream happened in January, we've both seen claims be awarded and claims be increased solely based on Dr. Sharma's medical opinion. In fact, I will go to say this. I haven't seen one denial from Dr. Sharma yet. Okay, not saying it's not going to happen. I just haven't seen it yet. All right, so if you've reached out to him and it has been a denial, let me know. I want to know what the denial was, what the disability was, and what the reason for the denial was. That's most important. Okay, but I'll tell you 100% God's honest truth. I haven't seen a denial from Dr. Sharma yet, which is insane. Okay. Will a C-file show military med history? What do VSOs have access to when viewing your previous military med history? So, Tony P, VSOs have access to whatever you give them access to. So, if you have your medical records and you show them, they have access to that. Okay. That's obviously easily understandable. When it comes to VBMS, which is the system Veteran Service Officers or Veteran Service Organization reps use to submit claims, and your C-file, those are kind of your C-files in there. What a C-file is, it's everything the VA looked at to make the decision, okay? And so that goes to say that not everything is in there, okay? Just what the VA looked at. Now, did the VA look at your service treatment records? Absolutely. So those are in there. And whatever's in that C-file, through VBMS, the VSO has access to, and they can look at everything. Okay, so the answer to your question, to keep it short, is the C-file is everything the VA looked at to make the decision, and the VSO can see that. So CMP exams, service treatment records, VA medical records, private records, I mean, anything and everything. Lay statements, DD-214s. All right. Hey, Orange Remediation. Welcome back to the show, brother. All right. Hello, Clay. Should I file my TDIU documents while wait decision on all my claims? Orange, you can. Okay. A lot of people would suggest that you wait for your decisions to come back. I know your situation pretty intimately. We've had multiple meetings, I think 3 or 4 now. For you could absolutely file TDIU right now. It would be no harm, no foul. And in fact, your disabilities, there is, I don't want to give you false hope, but your disabilities, they could be rated pretty high and you would get the 100% anyways. But you can absolutely file for TDIU. All right, Matt Horn. It's supposed to be PTSD, but they're labeled as MDD. Okay. So you'll see mixed. So you can be diagnosed with PTSD, with MDD, with GAD, and all these things. Sometimes it'll say adjustment disorder, all these things. And it depends what your ICD codes are and what the diagnosis is. And what the VA is going to do is take the one that's rated the highest. All right. But Matt, send me an email, definitely. I know we've been going back and forth in this chat or on this live, so definitely send me an email. Hey, Bamboo, thank you for the donation. I definitely appreciate it. Bamboo says, hey, Clay, when is your next one-on-one availability? I'm submitting a higher-level review for early effective date. Would like to have an extra pair of eyes look over it. Bamboo, send me an email, okay? Let me know you are Bamboo. You donated. I take care of everyone, but I'm definitely going to take care of you, okay? So just send me an email. Let me know you are Bamboo. We'll get on it. I try to do 2 meetings every single day. My schedule definitely packs up, but I will work around that for those that reach out to me individually through my email. So definitely do that. USMC Big B. Yeah, I saw the comment. I didn't have time to answer it. But hey, that's hilarious. USMC Big B, thank you for watching me at your home, right? For your grandbabies to look at me and notice me, that means you're watching me. I appreciate that. I've helped you. I've educated you, informed you on the VA's claim process. And as always, Big B, if you want that one-on-one meeting, you send me an email. All right, I'll absolutely take care of you for sure. Secret Sauce says I'm a dude, by the way. Okay, sorry about that. What's up, Secret Sauce? Feel free to send me that email to get that one-on-one meeting. All right. All right, Howard, do you need an in-person IMO for migraine secondary to service-connected disability? Ooh, so Howard, it depends. Okay, migraines is a different one. I'm gonna say no, especially if it's connected to PTSD. I'm definitely gonna say no. If it's connected to something physical, maybe like cervical strain in your neck, right, and you have X-rays, then I would say no. I guess what I'm driving to is if the evidence is very clear and you just need the nexus, I would say no. But generally speaking, you're going to want an in-person exam for everything that's not mental health related. Migraines might be one of those ones where you don't. All right. Hey, congrats, Secret Sauce. Hey, so Orange is also using Dr. Sharma, but he has CMP exam scheduled. No, not worried. I'm not worried at all. Orange. Also, it depends what those CMP exams are for. Because if I remember correctly, we submitted a lot of claims. Okay. Monty, 3 kids. Yeah, my friend had one and he was going through it. You're looking sane. At this point, I'm a pro. It's a kid number 3. Right. I'm a full-time dad, full-time husband, and I also work full-time. I'm busy. I'm definitely busy. Yeah. So McGuire says, yep, GW was golf 4. Okay. Definitely send me an email, McGuire, and we can look at that. I believe you're talking about sleep apnea. All right. Monty, how often do you see a Q claim being granted? If the VA identifies a clear, unmistakable error, it's granted pretty fast. That's a fast turnaround for them. How often do I see it? Not that often. Okay. Now, for a Q to become a Q, the VA has to realize that they made a mistake. And now we're giving the VA a ton of credit for them realizing they made a mistake. Okay. That doesn't really happen that often. Let me put it up and see if it will help me out here. All right, I think we're good. All right, but yeah, you're giving the VA lots of credit for them identifying the Q in the first place, and so that's step 1, right? Okay. Matt Horn, will the VA take away percentage rating if you take the medication due to being worried about long-term effects? No, they won't. Okay. Now, from a healthcare perspective, by no means am I saying don't take your medicine. I think you should take your medicine. I think you should do whatever the doctor said. But at the end of the day, it's you. But to answer your question, are they going to take away your rating? No, they're not. Same thing with the CPAP. If you don't use your CPAP, you're still going to have a 50% rating for, we got a donation. I'm definitely missing these. I get too focused into answering questions. All right. Donald with the $20 donation. I will definitely read your question here in a second. Let me I got this sweet banner. I paid for the stream service. Gosh darn it, we're going to use it. All right. Okay, so Donald says, I'll be sending you an email. Oh, nope, that's not what I want. All right, I'll be sending you an email to set up an appointment to discuss a presumptive condition to Gulf War syndrome. Thanks for the informative comment. Donald, absolutely. Send me, that goes for everyone. Send me an email. We can have a one-on-one meeting. Everything I do is free, okay? I solely run the channel on donations. That helps me pay for the streaming service. For the Google charges $10 to do the calendar invite thing. It's insane to me, but that's what the money goes towards, just to let everyone know, okay? So all this stuff goes right back to the VA. All right, Matt Horn, we definitely answered that. Short answer, no. All right, Andres Ortega, 36-year-old, 100% P&T can be reduced based on the age. If fraud doesn't apply and no more claims are submitted, the benefit can last for the rest of the veteran's life. Also, being that young is a good idea to apply for Social Security. I will tell you this, Andres Ortega. Oh, my daughter just woke up. If you rate Social Security disability, this is also my dog. If you rate Social Security, apply for it. Those are two separate processes, completely different. Being P&T does come with the benefit of, and I'll quote, expedited Social Security process. What does that mean? I have no idea. I'm not a Social Security expert, okay? But just like how there are channels on YouTube for VA claims, there are channels on YouTube for Social Security. So definitely look into that. To answer your previous question, can it be reduced based on age? Not based on age at all. You're 100% P&T, 36 years old. I assume you have a lot of service time. Come on, Cooper. Yeah, you're fine. Don't worry about it, especially if there's no fraud, which is very rare. I got someone from work calling me. I don't know why they're calling me at 8 p.m. Yeah, work is wild. All right. We will ignore that for now. Okay. Andres, hopefully I answered your question. Okay. Brock, Loy, is it hard to get prescribed medication for migraines for VA? Absolutely not. If you get the diagnosis, your provider will prescribe you sumatriptan. It's a fairly easy process. Come on, baby, take the bottle. Let me see if this can work real quick. Eat that. Okay, it worked. We're safe, everyone. We're safe. We're safe. If you're just now tuning in, scroll back a little bit. You'll see my daughter. She wanted a bottle. We're all safe. Okay, back to the question. It's fairly easy, right? Just talk to your provider. Don't request medicine. Just say, hey, I have migraines. Here's how bad they get. Guys, we have a $50 donation. This is absolutely insane from John Erickson. I'm definitely going to put this in my banner here. That's insane. I don't even know what to say whenever I see these. It just I'm speechless. Thank you so much, guys, for the donations. I appreciate that. All of this goes back to the channel. All of it, 100% of it. Okay. Let me answer this, and I'll scroll down to John's question here. All right. I recently went in for yearly, told them about my migraines. They seem uninterested, told me to just keep taking over-the-counter meds. Brock, I would talk. So at your next appointment, talk about how severe they are. And be very specific. Like, I get them in my front left. head, blah, 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 blah. The and say this. Over-the-counter meds are not working, right? Now, I'm not saying say that to get the meds. I'm saying say it if it's true. So if the over-the-counter meds aren't working, express that to your provider, right? The provider only knows what we tell them. And so we definitely want to express our concerns with the provider. All right, John Erickson just sent the super sticker. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate that. It means the world to me, okay? It really does. $50 donation that's up there. Thank you so much. And I didn't even put it on my thing. Okay, there it is. There we go. All right, let me go back up to where I'm at. Is your wife a VA caregiver? No, I don't require any aid and attendance at all. I work full time. She's my caregiver, right, in my personal life. She's absolutely amazing. All right. Maybe one day she'll have, you know what? Maybe she's going to come here soon, and maybe I can con her into coming down. Okay. I just texted her. We'll see. All right. So Sunny Lamb says, in my opinion, I don't really see any other questions from you. Let me know so I can answer your question, Sonny. All right, going down to Storm Vet, brother. So Storm Vet, I remember Storm Vet's donation on a previous stream. Brother, thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right. So Storm Vet says he sent an email with his questions. All right, I'm definitely going to answer. I'm going to answer that for sure. But can the VA schedule a CMP exam for a condition that falls under the Pact Act, even with the diagnosis? Absolutely, Storm Vet. And so you have everything. It's going to be service connected. The diagnosis and the criteria for the presumptive for the Pact Act, right? So that's going to be connected. Now what the CMP exam is going to do is determine the severity of the symptom, right? So let's just hypothetically say you submitted sinusitis. They're not automatically going to give you 30%. What they're going to do is service connect it, but now they need to see, okay, does this rate 10%? Does this rate 30%? Does this rate 60%? I believe sinusitis goes up to 60. And so that's what the CMP exam is going to do. The service connection is already there. You don't have to worry about that. It's just the severity of the symptom. So it's looking good. It's looking good. All right, McGuire. Can an in-service personal evaluation be used as evidence to show proof of second occupation? Needed to justify injuries. Can an in-service personal evaluation? Okay, so I think you're describing a evaluation from a private practice while you're in the military. Yes, the answer to that is yes, if that's what you're saying. But yeah, it absolutely can. All that's medical evidence, and that goes from in-service to out of service. All right, let me know if that's not what you're saying. I want to be sure to do that. John Erickson, I love seeing that sticker. That's awesome. All right. Okay. Douglas Neighbors. Can I use a psychiatrist nurse practitioner? Okay, not a real thing. For my increase for mental health, is that a credible statement for me, psychiatrist nurse practitioner? So is this psychiatrist is a medical doctor? Nurse practitioner is not a medical doctor. Okay, so those are two separate things. Okay, there's psychologists. There's you'll see, what is this for mental health? Let's just assume it's PTSD. I want you to Google, or actually go to Del K. Graham's channel. I'm going to link this channel in the chat, or link this video in the chat for you, because it's going to show you the mental health DBQ, and it talks about who can write that, okay? And I definitely want you to look at that. It explains it in depth, but I'm going to share this. Who can help every... Nope, that's not it. All right, mental health DBQ claim. Let me copy this link, post this in there. All right, at the bottom of the chat, I just posted that video for you. It talks about who can write, who can complete the DBQ for PTSD specifically. You can use that same concept for any mental health claim, okay? But I personally would get a psychiatrist. And Douglas, if you're looking for one, I highly recommend Dr. Sharma. You've seen his name come up all throughout the live stream. He is absolutely insane. Okay. Zeb says, good evening. Can you file a claim for flat feet if your entrance exam had feet circled and exit exam said bilateral plus planus? Absolutely. Okay. The argument there, Zeb, is you have to argue that your service made your condition worse. Okay, which it sounds like it did, just based off of what you said. But you would have to argue that. But that's a pretty easy win. I would definitely submit that claim. All right, Steel Beef. I love your name. I don't know why I love it. I just know I love it. Okay. Asking because it seems the program is designed for someone who is bedridden, but my friend that's a veteran walks and talks, and their mother is on the VA caregiver program. Thoughts? Okay, so the caregiver program is different from aid and attendance for sure. Aid and attendance is more severe. Okay, way more severe. The caregiver program, you can I challenge you to Google that, look into that. There's a lot that goes into the caregiver program. But it could be, so here's an example, okay? A symptom of severe PTSD is memory loss. And if you can't remember to take your medicine, you would need help to do that, okay? And so that would be a very Barney style example of a caregiver. That's just one. It depends on that person's situation. It's not always bedridden, okay? That's more aid and attendance. Caregiver is definitely something totally different. But I hope I answered that too as best I can. All right, John Erickson, a sicker guy. Okay, if you made a claim for a foot condition back in 2015 and it was denied, can you put it in for a foot condition after? I asked because they keep closing my foot condition every time I try to put it in. John, you need to submit a supplemental claim. Specifically, you have to submit a supplemental claim if something's been denied and you have new evidence, okay? And so that's why it keeps closing automatically. I'm assuming because you're not doing a supplemental claim. But yes, that's why. All right, Matt says no purchase on Nexus letters, straight from legit doctors. Okay. Caveat there, that doesn't mean those that write letters are not legit. Okay. Had test for sleep apnea testing. Yeah. So you had the evidence. I always say 9 out of 10 times veterans don't need an independent medical opinion. They don't need a DBQ 9 out of 10 times. Okay. Am I a fan of them? Absolutely. Because they do come in clutch. But it goes to show that if you have the evidence and your evidence suggests the secondary connection, then it's an easy win for that secondary connection. Okay, if you have the evidence. All right, the VA. Yep. Okay. Had their hand in the cookie jar. All right. Kendrick Carr, do you have suggestions for Nexus letters? Kendrick, let me know what conditions you're talking about. I am partnered with a psychiatrist who is absolutely awesome. And so if it's a mental health disability or disabilities connected to mental health, that's who I'd recommend, Dr. Sharma. When it comes to anyone else, like physicians, I've tried to reach out to multiple physicians that write Nexus letters. And how do I say this in a very nice way? It takes a lot of integrity to accept money from a veteran and then write a medical opinion. It takes a lot of integrity for that because I'll say this. I'll say it like this. Are there companies that don't believe in their own opinions that still charge veterans for that opinion? Absolutely. Okay. And so that's why I always caution veterans using Nexus letters. They're generally not needed. But let me know what condition you're talking about. Let's talk about your evidence before we go to the Nexus letter route. All right. I don't want to shove you into a Nexus letter when it's not needed. It's probably odds are it's probably not needed, but send me an email. We'll talk about it. All right. Aaron speaks. Greetings. What's up? What's up, homie? All right. So Aaron speaks is doing a fully developed claim. or doing a fully developed claim is the way to go as long as it's calculated. Yeah, as long as that claim is a fully developed claim, you submit the in-service event, you submit the current diagnosis, you submit the nexus, you submit the severity of symptoms with the nexus statement of at least as likely as not. We really want more likely than not or due to. But yes, FTCs are the way to go. Del-K Graham, that's what sets Del-K Graham apart from other VSOs is they push fully developed claims, and I can definitely attest to that. Douglas Neighbors, it's okay for me to use a psychiatric nurse practitioner to try and get an increase for my mental health. Doug, that's fine. I will say this: if you're paying for it, I don't want to hurt their business, okay? But I'll say it like this: if I was gonna pay for a DBQ, because you already have it service connected, so you don't need a Nexus letter, okay? If I was gonna pay for a DBQ for mental health, I would go to a psychiatrist because they are a medical doctor. That's me personally. Can you go to a psychiatric nurse practitioner? The answer to that is yes. That's not what I would recommend personally. All right. Can the VA have CMP examiners provide Nexus letters? So, Jason, CMP examiners will write a Nexus statement. So this CMP examiner has two jobs. They determine symptom severity, okay? And they determine service connection. And what I mean by that is they write the Nexus, saying at least as likely, less likely than not, stuff like that. And so if you ever hear a VSO say, hey, the CMP exam looks favorable, they're referring to the statement the examiner wrote. And so, yes, they can. But that's where we come into, there's a ton of things with that. But yes, to answer your question. Yep. So Aaron Speaks did all his claims himself, got 100% within 6 months. Awesome, Aaron. Congrats to you. I definitely am for veterans submitting their own claims. No one cares about your claim more than you. I volunteer for VSO. I make YouTube videos for an accredited VSO. So I'm definitely a fan of VSOs. I'm not a fan of accredited attorneys, believe it or not. And I'm definitely, if you've been on this channel before, I absolutely despise for-profit companies like VA Claims Insider, Vets Guardian. I mean, anyone that says, hey, we can guarantee you 100% within 2 months. It's like, okay, sure. You can guarantee a timeline with the VA. Like, that stuff's just blowing smoke, gaslighting. It's definitely not, I'm not a fan of those at all. I'll leave it at that because I can go on and on and on. Secret Sauce, who is a dude, by the way, Doc says, Dr. Sharma is insanely busy now. I'm glad I stuck with the iron while it was hot. Yeah, he's definitely busy. But I will say this. With the VA, there's the intent to file, okay? And so if you're going to reach out to Dr. Sharma, start the intent to file because you'll get the back date. You'll get the back pay, okay? So that's kind of the remedy to that. But I assure you, I will bet my life that there's no other psychiatrist that can write a better Nexus letter with the DBQ other than him for the price that he charges because it's definitely below market. Okay. I didn't have any problems getting the tinnitus. All right, Antoine, that's awesome. Tinnitus is at 10%. USMC Big B says, when I told my lawyer about Dr. Sharma, he asked for his contact info. Awesome. That's cool. I hope he doesn't make him more busy, okay? Dark Thanian says, in service, I gained 30 pounds, which is obese, 175 to 205. My blood pressure was recorded. High blood pressure on my exit exam, but I was not diagnosed or treated in service is enough to direct service connect. So to what? So the weight gain from being injured in service is unable to exercise. Okay. And so are we connecting? So obesity is recognized by the VA, but you can't get it can be service connected, but without a rating. And so it's linked to something. Is that high blood pressure? Maybe. Is that mental health? Maybe. Okay. Is it a back injury? Maybe. Honey, everyone said they want you to come on camera. Just say hi. Just come over here and peek. Come over here and peek. Don't say anything. Just come over here and peek and then leave. All the way. All the way. All the way. Hey, this is her. Okay. You guys go. Can you take her too?
Yes.
All right. It's 8:15. At 8:30, we're going to end the stream. Okay. I'm going to get through as many questions as I can. Dark Daniel, hopefully that answered your question. So what is your obesity connected to? And then you can claim that. Okay. It looks like it's connected to hypertension. Submit the claim. Okay. Is it a back injury that caused obesity? Is it mental health? You can also claim those. All right. USMC Big B says, you've helped me and continue to help me. I will reach out when it's time. Just don't want to waste your time. Oh, hey, definitely. I appreciate that, Big B. Because veterans are on those time slots. And so if someone takes one, that takes away from someone else. Okay. So I appreciate that, Big B. Thanks for looking out. And just so you know, when you're ready, send me an email personally and I'll work around your schedule. Yep. So Aaron speaks. Had an in-person for migraines. They gave me 50%. Awesome. Yeah. All right. MBZ. I did in-person for those migraines and got 50. Yep. And when it comes to anything but mental health, in-person exams go hell of a lot further than telehealth exams. Okay. Mental health is is a weird one where you don't need an exam. In fact, if you have a C&P exam for mental health, there's a chance it could be telehealth. Okay. But I will say this, you are not going to have a telehealth appointment for a lower back claim. Okay. It's not going to happen. And so just knowing that, if the VA is not going to schedule a telehealth appointment for your lower back, why would you submit a DBQ and a Nexus letter for lower back that was telehealth? It just doesn't make sense. I don't get it. Are there companies that will charge that? Absolutely. Am I a fan of them? No. Okay. I don't want to put any companies on blast, but Prestige Worldwide, they're one of them. Now, they do write good Nexus letters, okay? But they definitely fall in the category of not believing in their own opinion. All right. Done through VA doctor, C&P exams, okay? Donald, I want to highlight this. He donated earlier. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. All donations go back to the channel. I just realized how many questions there are, and it's absolutely insane. There's no way I'm getting through all these questions. I'm going to try, though, okay? We got about 14 minutes, 13 minutes. We'll get on it, all right? Aaron speaks, unless you're taking medication somehow, it shows substantial improvement. Okay, maybe. Rich says, waiting for 8 months for medical records from VetRex archives. Okay. Sent request certified. They have no record. WTF. Yeah. Let me know. You don't have to tell me your age, but if you want help on that, send me an email. Okay. Keep in mind, you can absolutely submit a claim without having your service treatment records. The VA can get those. Their duty to assist would kick in. Is it going to take a long time? Yes. But they can get them faster than you. There's a lot more to that. That's why I want you to email me if you want help. All right. Angela B, thank you. Okay. I really do appreciate that. It keeps me going. Okay. For all the veterans in here asking questions, thank you. Without questions, there is no live. I always say that. But yes, thank you. I appreciate it. All right. SSA will offset based on your income to the VA. Absolutely. Okay. Does the VA provide for comfort dogs? So yes, Orange, they do. It's not I've seen veterans try to get a dog to become a service dog. It doesn't really work like that. It's the other way around, actually. But if you need a companion, talk to your provider about that, and they can absolutely do that for you. It is a process, but they can for sure. Okay. Yep, you can. He says, going through the same VHA doctor, understand helping migraines, taking ibuprofen. Yeah. So if you're unhappy, there's also patient advocacy. If you're unhappy with your provider at the VA, you can reach out to patient advocacy, let them know what's going on. But I think that we as veterans, Sean McGuire, this is solid right here. We as veterans, I think, should do a better job at describing our symptoms to our provider and to the CMP examiner. Okay, I would like to see those two things increase just from what we can do type of perspective. And letting them know exactly what McGuire said. Okay, send a secure message to your primary doc. Hey, I'm taking over-the-counter medicine. It's not working. My migraines are getting worse. Saying that in a secure message will go a long way. All right, Eric, I didn't mean to skip you here. Eric Franklin. I have a DBQ, Nexus from a psychologist, and do a video appointment every month with the VA social worker. Is there a chance I won't need a CMP? Is to answer your question simply, yes, there's a chance you won't need a CMP exam. A lot goes into that, okay? Are you service connected for mental health? I don't think so. It doesn't seem like you're going for an increase. So now you're doing in a new claim. You're going to submit the DBQ from a psychologist. Okay, you're definitely, I thought it said psychiatrist for a second. So you have a Nexus from a psychologist. And you have medical evidence with a social worker, you're going to need a CMP exam, okay? Even if that psychologist is supervised by a board-certified DO, whatever the criteria is, more than likely you're going to need a CMP exam. Eric. All right. Brock, mine was migraine question on VA not giving medicine. I assume that's what you mean, Brock. I told them I have vomited from migraines and frequently have to lay down. Was a NP, also not a doctor. Brock, definitely take McGuire's advice here. Send that secure message to your primary care medical doctor, a physician. All right. Let them know what's going on. And feel free to say, hey, I've expressed this to the nurse practitioner. She told me to take over-the-counter meds. It's not working. All right, Teet, what's up? Thank you, longtime fan of the channel here. Thanks for coming in. Definitely appreciate it. Frank McKean says, I was in 3 VA, the D word, and diagnosed with depression. All right. I was on suicide watch twice at the VA hospital 10 years ago. I was in treatment for alcohol-related event in service. Do I have a claim here? I was in treatment for alcohol-related event in service. Frank, absolutely. Okay. My only question, so do you have a case for a claim? Yes, you do for mental health, for sure. The only question I have is this happened 10 years ago. What happened from 10 years ago to now? That would be the chronic and continuous part. Are there any events that can be verified, whether it's a lay statement, a buddy letter? Okay. Did you go to VA healthcare? Did you see a private provider for that? There's a 10-year gap there, but regardless, do you have a case for a claim? Absolutely. I would submit that. And it sounds like a pretty decent mental health rating just based off of what you said here. All right. Yep. And enters. Yep. Absolutely. That what McGuire's is talking about is when you send a secure message, that becomes a part of your, if you go to your blue button report and look at your VA medical records, that becomes a part of your medical evidence. Okay. So definitely do that. Solid. NP doc, same thing. Yep. Okay. Awesome. McGuire, thank you. I love seeing other veterans answer other veterans' questions, especially when it's correct. I have no complaints. We have 7 minutes and then we are out of here. All right. Antoine Smith, CMP exam, challenging mental health. Absolutely. Mental health CMP exams are challenging, may not be the word I would use, but they're definitely serious. They can get serious, especially when we're talking about PTSD. It talks about pre-service, during service, after service. I actually have a solid video on mental health CMP exams. I'm actually going to link in the chat because we're about to end the stream. But let me link this video in the chat. And it goes over what a mental health CMP exam would most likely look like. All right. My dang keyboard, the battery died. I'm very mad at it. I'm going to have to change my batteries. All right. Camo Fishing Outdoors. Hey, do I need a Nexus if I was diagnosed with sleep apnea during service? No. In fact, that's the easiest sleep apnea claim. If you have a sleep apnea, if you have a sleep study and a diagnosis from service, that is what you want for your sleep apnea claim. Okay. Nexus letters for sleep apnea really come into play when we talk about secondary service connection because you didn't have a sleep study in service. So for your case, Camo Fishing Outdoors, it's a pretty easy win, and I would jump on top of that. Eli Riddle, let me take this banner off. Eli Riddle says, oh, we have a ton of questions that popped up. For migraine secondary to tinnitus, if I apply for migraine secondary to tinnitus, how do I get a formal diagnosis? Do I have to just go to the VA ER, or how do I get a formal diagnosis before I apply? So going to the ER would be one option. If it's severe enough, definitely go to the ER. Okay, for sure. You could also talk to your VA provider. Just like McGuire said, you can send a secure message to them, let them know about your migraines. You can even say, hey, when I have ringing in my ears, my migraine, I usually get a migraine. That would be the connection, the evidence piece I was talking about. Then have that appointment, get the diagnosis, get some medicine. Okay, sumatriptan, very common. And yes, absolutely. That's how I would do that, is do the VA primary care. But you can do it through the ER as well. That's a 50% rating for this right here. No, you don't need a Nexus. Yes, you should claim that. That's a pretty easy win, especially if you have the in-service event, which is a diagnosis from while you're in service. All right. Hey, we have an accredited VSO here watching. John, appreciate that. It definitely makes my day when I see VSOs comment on the page. I appreciate that. It honestly makes me feel great. Okay. He says, document everything medically. Guys, this is from an accredited VSO. Here's what they say. I want to highlight this. Document everything medically. Think about your BDD when you're 6 months out. Exactly. BDDs are like the VA's golden ticket to veterans. Okay. Obviously, you have to be active duty, ending your service to have that BDD. Once you pass that time frame, definitely get your claim submitted within that 1 year mark. After that 1 year mark, you join the rest of us degenerates where we're battling fully developed claims and Nexus statements and current diagnoses and stuff like that. But absolutely, John, solid advice. Matthew Fonte, any tips for someone retiring in a few years? I should have read your question first, because here's the answer. John hit it right on the head. Matthew, my email is TheCivDiv@gmail.com. Let me actually, on my screen, it shows, well, I have my YouTube up here. Okay, on my screen, it shows my timer blocking my email, but I see that you guys can see it. That's good. All right. Golden statement right here. Definitely. We have 2 minutes left. See if I can answer anyone else. CivDiv, the evals were occupational evals on active duty for supervisor. They list a second occupation MOS. Oh, okay. Yeah, absolutely. That would be evidence. Maybe we're talking about tinnitus here, depending on what we're talking about. But yes, you could do that. Okay. Matt Horn filed 2 Nexus letters with VSO. Both got denied by VA. To go back to VSO rep. Matt, I answered your question prior in the stream. Send me an email. I have tons of questions about your Nexus letters because 9 out of 10 times you don't need them. Okay. They're not needed. So I definitely want to get to, I want to help you out, but I need more information on those Nexus letters and what you were denied and why you were denied specifically. There's the big 3, the in-service event, the current diagnosis, and the Nexus. Which one are you missing, or are you missing all of them? Okay. I want to know. Hey, take John's advice here. That's definitely solid. All right. As long as you had at least 3 observations. Yeah. So when it comes to hypertension, you can look up 38 CFR and just Google hypertension 38 CFR, and you'll see how the VA rates hypertension, but it's definitely multiple readings, right? having a high blood pressure reading is different than hypertension. It's got to be consistent. Look, he says, Mrs. TheCivDiv don't got to be quiet. She can speak. Yeah, she was shy to come on. All right. Juan Risotto. So I will leave the live stream at this. Okay. I have allergic rhinitis. I don't have any polyps or the obstruction. Okay. But my allergies take me out to the point I have to lay down because nothing seems to help. Can I file a claim? Absolutely, Juan. And I want to know if you meet Pact Act criteria. And so here, I'll end the stream with this. Let me look up. So actually, I want to share with y'all what I'm actually doing. So you can see how I kind of go about doing this. I'm just going to share my entire screen. Hopefully it works pretty well. Okay, you guys can see that. Am I doing it? Yep. All right. So watch this. Here's what I'm going to do. I definitely forgot Juan's question. Oh, Pact Act. So I have a Pact Act question. What I'm going to do is go to Google, look up Pact Act VA. I'm teaching you how to fish right now. Pay attention, guys and gals. Click on the VA link, okay? Don't click on any of this lawyer baloney, okay? You don't need a lawyer for the Pact Act. The Pact Act makes it easy. Why would we pay for a lawyer, okay? So you're going to scroll down here. You'll see all this stuff. Here's what we want. And toxic exposures. So here's the cancers that are presumptive under the Gulf War era, post 9/11. And then here are the illnesses that are now under the Pact Act. And so Juan says allergic rhinitis. I'm going to show you something right here. Chronic rhinitis. That's connected to the Pact Act, okay? And so now we see that's connected. Now what you need to do, Juan, is know if you are eligible for the Pact Act. And here we go, right here. On or after September 11, 2001, in any of these areas, if on your DD-214 it says you've been here in this time frame, you have a diagnosis for rhinitis or any of the other conditions, submit the claim. It's literally that easy, okay? That's how easy it is to claim Pact Act stuff. But with that, veterans, thank you so much for stopping by. I'm actually going to end my stream with the video from before. Did I miss a donation? Oh, no, I think I got that one before, Juan. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'm going to end the stream with the video from our fan base here at CivDiv. If you want your photos included in the stream countdown, definitely email me. It could be a photo of you from service, a group photo, a scenic photo from when you were deployed. I mean, anything, I'll add it in. And thank you for your time. Thank you for your questions. And thank you to those who shared some personal information. Till next time.
Whiskey 9 Yankee, 7 November Golf, over. Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Negative Alpha Bravo. And this is 7 November Golf, Roger. Request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out. 7 November 8 5, and 8 5, 7 November, say again. 7 November, go. I copied a while ago, 1 Charlie transmission that my can use November, go. 1 Charlie, Hello. And 8 5, this is 7 November, Charlie. 8 5, right now. And 1 Charlie, 7 November, go.
This is 1 Charlie, in reference to your last, you're Brandon 158, extra 5 o'clock, 1200 between teams, and local. Also request your unit take outbound records to see if we can try to get Whiskey 9 and 8 for Borne to the playground.
And this is 7 November, Roger, stand by.
Got that.
Got it? Alright. And all units, this is 7 November Golf. My unit Alpha, Echo, X-ray Alpha Alpha in there.
One Charlie, Alpha Bravo.
Hey, I never took a dip. I forgot
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November, Golf, over.
Whiskey 9, go.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo. Whiskey 9, Yankee, 7 November, Golf, over.
This is Whiskey 9, go.
Whiskey 9, 7 November, interrogative Alpha Bravo.
Negative Alpha Bravo.
And this is 7 November Golf, Roger. Request you check your Romeo side. I'll go ahead and check my Tango side. 7 November Golf out.
November 8-5,
And 8 7 November, say again. 7 November, go.